All right, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was watching an interview. I just got done watching it as I shoot this video, so it's fresh on my mind. I was just watching Kodak Black. He's doing press, and I like to see Kodak Black doing press. He looks to be in a much better space than when he did. Remember, he did that random Breakfast Club interview with the ski mask. One of his biggest moments of his career. He went up to the Breakfast Club, gave a random interview. He was in a ski mask the whole interview. I didn't get the ski mask. To me, it was backwards branding, right? It was backwards hustling. You this big up and coming artist, and instead of showing your face, you had a ski mask on. It was backward hustling to me. But Kodak he's got an album coming out this Friday. We're gonna talk more about him in my TALIAFERRO'S series soon. He looks good. He got some weight on him, but the energy looks good. He's been out for a couple months now. He's got some records charting. Atlantic is pushing that button on him. That ZZ, that joint is picking up some steam. Kodak's putting out a couple other records. I think the album's gonna do pretty decent. I'm happy that Kodak is not incarcerated for him to put out a project. All right, that's what the main thing with Kodak Black's career thus far is every time he put out a project, he's behind bars. Thank you. Unless this dude get in some trouble in the next 48 hours, he will be out of jail or prison to promote his project. I'm super happy about that as a music fan. Now, Kodak Black's, he did this interview with Hot 97, and it got a little awkward around 16 minutes in. I will tell you this before I go in depth in what happened. This felt contrived. I'm not gonna lie, it felt like Ebro and company. Honestly, and I respect Ebro and Peter and Laura Styles. It felt like they needed a moment. It felt, I watch a lot of Hot 97 content, and I notice a lot of people are not watching a lot of Hot 97 content. I'm saying it in a very nice way. A lot of their stuff is not doing great views anymore, and they got 2.3 million subscribers. But I be looking at a lot of their clips, and I be like, yo, damn, y'all got a huge following. If you got a big subscriber count, but your views don't really show that, that will probably tell me that the content ain't clicking. I go through stretches when my content ain't clicking with the people, right? That tells me that I'm not relating to the people from time to time. So you got to fix something. Right now, I feel like over the last few months, really all of 2018, Hot 97's content hasn't been clicking with the people like it did in years past. I got some reasoning for that. I'll keep that to myself. Now, Kodak Black was asked about his sexual assault case. The reason why this is fresh on Ebro and in the morning's mind is right now is because yesterday, and I meant to do a video on this, it was announced that Kodak is facing a lot of time behind this case that does have a trial date. So Kodak's going to court April 2019 about, I believe it was in South Carolina. He was accused of, and I think it's sexual assault. Yes, it's sexual assault. Okay, I got that for sure. It's a sexual assault case that happened in Florence, South Carolina, a couple years ago. I do want to admit that Kodak was much younger when this situation happened or allegedly happened, right? And it's rape. This woman is accusing Kodak of rape. Okay, so you can spin it. I've been telling y'all about this for a year or so now on my platform. I was like, yo, Kodak, I'm happy that he beat charges, but he still got a big case coming up. And it was released that the trial is set for April 2019, and Kodak's facing a lot of years if convicted behind this. So he's gonna have to fight his ass off. Hopefully he keeps the same lawyers that he's had over the last couple years that's been helping him get out of a lot of situations. That was announced, so it was fresh on Ebro's mind. He asked Kodak about it, and Kodak immediately gets upset. I'm not mad at Kodak Black getting upset. He's in a great, positive, upbeat vibe. Most of these outlets are scared to ask real questions anyway, so ain't nobody probably asked him. The local Florida stations ain't gonna ask him about real shit like that, right? So he's probably doing all these interviews, and nobody's even asking him about the real shit. Like, yo, what's up with this case, bro? This is serious. Are we about to lose you for 10 years? Like, niggas don't want to just wake up and Kodak be gone, and we realize, like, yo, damn, what the hell happened? Nobody asked him about this in an interview. I think that's Ebro's job as a radio personality / journalist to ask the questions that people want to know. Do you feel confident that you're going to beat this case? We take sexual assault really serious on my platform. That's what Ebro said. Kodak got tight. I'm not mad at Kodak for getting tight. If that was the first time he was asked about it, I'm not mad at Ebro for asking a question. I think he has the creative license to ask that question, and it's on Kodak to respond. All you got to do is say, look, right now, I know I take sexual assault really serious myself. I got a lawyer. My lawyer has advised me not to speak on that. I'd love to come back and talk about that in the future. Kodak got tight about it. So from there, Kodak was like, man, if y'all ain't gonna switch subjects, Peter Rosenberg tried to give this bullshit question about the moon or some shit. And Kodak was like, I'm just finna roll. Ebro was like, you don't get to tell me what to do on my platform, just roll. They end the interview 17, 18 minutes in. Like I said, it felt very, very acted out. I don't think Kodak was acting with Ebro in the morning, but it did feel like Ebro was searching for that moment that I think his program needed. Outside of Funk Flex, that Hot 97 channel and that platform, and I haven't looked at the ratings in a couple months, but they kind of been a little cold, man, from a content standpoint. So it felt like Ebro and company was searching for a moment, but I do believe Ebro has the license to ask a question like that. I ain't mad at Ebro for asking that question. Now, I want to say this. In defense to Kodak, there are a lot of other artists that got real accusations against them that have been to trial and had cases with real shit involved that it seems like when they come up to programs, no one talks about. It's like we forgot about it. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm a fan of music. I cover music. I am so ready for Fab to put out another project. I'm just be honest with y'all. Can I be vulnerable and honest, y'all? I'm so fucking ready for Fab to put out another project and to see how New York media covers Fab. Cause okay, Hot 97. I'm not mad at y'all for pressing Kodak Black about a sexual assault trial, right? He's accused of raping a chick. I'm not take that shit serious. I'm happy that Hot 97 feels like they gotta ask that question. That's real. I don't like that rappers think they could just come up to the program and you got sexual assault cases all over your head. Look, man, hey, that's real shit. No, you don't get to just and I'm not saying Kodak did rape this young lady or whatever. I'm just saying, like, yo, if that shit is out in the atmosphere, my nigga, we can ask you about that. That's real, but damn, like, y'all want to make it seem like it's not cool for us to ask about shit you're doing or accused of doing. I don't think anything's wrong with that. I am going to say this, though. I'm watching how New York media covers Fab. It's one thing to keep that energy with Kodak, the young artist, all right, the down south artist. I want to see y'all keep it with a seasoned veteran artist in the game, Fab, because we got Fab on camera coming at his girl in a threatening way with some sharp object. That's what we seen on camera. When Fab decides to do press, he been kind of dodging and hiding out. We all know Fab usually put out a project around the holiday season. He ditched this time. He's trying to stay under low key. When Fab is ready to put out a project, I just want to see how New York media cover Fab. I want to see if y'all gonna keep that same energy with Fab and ask him, yo, you got accused of some real shit. It was some pictures of, allegedly his girl was like his baby mom's, was kind of like beat up in some photos that the police got. Y'all gonna keep that same energy or what? That's all I'm asking. Everybody keep their same energy. So I'm not mad at Hot 97. And if Kodak felt like that question was out of line and it's kind of ruining the energy in the way that he was on, I ain't mad at Kodak Black for saying, nah, I ain't really rocking with that. I ain't trying to answer that. I ain't trying to talk about that. You just kind of fucked up my whole vibe. It's this album week for me. I ain't trying to address that right now, my nigga. I ain't mad at either side. I will say this. I brought up a conversation that I'm going to have more in depth. I'm going to do my top 5 platforms for the year, right? Platforms that Mr. Taliaferro consumes day in and day out. I'm going to do that in one of my end of the year specials because we got to have a real conversation about Hot 97. Because I'm going to be honest, like I said, Funk Flex is popping, right? But in regards to Ebro in the morning, I remember there was a time where Ebro in the ratings was competing with Breakfast Club straight up and down. I know people don't think that, but there have been months when Ebro in the morning in the last few years, have beaten the Power 105 Breakfast Club in those morning 6 to 10 ratings. It's happened more than you would think, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I know the streets and the internet, Breakfast Club's way hotter than Hot 97, but there have been moments when Ebro in the morning, that show has beaten out the Breakfast Club in the last few years. What the hell is going on right now, though? Like, I'm watching the Joe Budden podcast. I'm just being honest. I still believe the Breakfast Club is number one. They have more culturally relevant moments in the culture happening up there. They damn near be having 2-3 culturally relevant moments every week. I believe the Breakfast Club is by far the #1 most important provider of content in our culture right now. They're #1. And I ain't never think I'd say this, but Hot 97 and Ebro in the Morning is no longer #2. Let me just say Ebro in the Morning is no longer #2 because I think Funk Flex is top 5. And he's over there on that Hot 97 page as well. But #2 to me, right now, there are more culturally relevant moments happening on Joe Budden in the Joe Budden podcast. Like, I just watched the joint from today, and he called in Tyrese and Tory Lanez on his platform. What's been the biggest conversation this week? Who's the king of R&B? The fact that Joe Budden is able to call and get Tory Lanez and Tyrese on the line just like that on his platform. I think a couple weeks ago I was listening to the Joe Budden podcast, and you remember when that video of Jill Scott with the giving the head on the microphone went viral? This nigga called Jill Scott and got on the line. Those are culturally relevant moments. The Pusha T interview when he was talking about Drake, right? Culturally relevant moments. Right now, Joe Budden and the Joe Budden podcast, they have the second most relevant moments in the culture to me, right behind the Breakfast Club, who I think the Breakfast Club still got a big lead, but both those platforms have shot past Ebro in the Morning. I mean, shot past Ebro in the Morning. So I'm just trying to figure out what the heck is going on. The interviews a lot of times it does feel like they're clueless to the acts. Like, I'm young, I'm 24, y'all. I know a lot about Kodak Black's music. I listen to a lot of NBA Youngboy. There are a lot of guys out there. Shout out to Relatable Oddball. Y'all know I fucks with Relatable Oddball. A lot of these guys, we know what's going on in the music world. That's why we so dangerous to a lot of these guys. Because down south is running hip hop right now, for the most part. And you got guys like us who we know what the fuck going. We know when Lil Baby drop a project. We know the real stuff that's happening in the culture. And you go up to a program like Ebro in the Morning and kind of feels like they've been a little bit of clueless. Like, the reason why an interview goes left like that is because I listened to that interview, pretty much they didn't even get to talk about any music. He's up there to promote an album. The reason why you can't talk about music with Kodak, because they don't know any fucking music from Kodak Black. The radio stations don't listen to music like a guy like me would, or Relatable Oddball. We know what the fuck's going on in the music world. We listen to music. So I'm just saying, like, it feels like there's a disconnect between the older outlets now, like the Ebro, and they're 40 and up, the Ebro in the Mornings, and an artist like a Kodak Black or NBA Youngboy. It just feels like there's a disconnect in the vibe. I would love to ask Kodak the same sexual assault questions, but I also want to talk about all this phenomenal music that this dude has put out this year. So we'll see where this goes. Yeah, I don't think Kodak's going to do any more interviews with Hot 97. Yeah. Yo, that's one of the biggest things I'm battling with right now, just to be honest with the Ferros. Like, yo, I want my own platform. I want to be able to do interviews because I've grown my brand. And, like, yo, my brand is getting to the point where I feel like my face is recognizable. People know that I talk music enough that I could have, like, I could go work at a radio station if I wanted to, or I could, like, do something else. Like, you know, start my own little interview series up, you know, and kind of grow it from there, get a sponsor too behind it. But I just want to make sure everything right, because I'm trying to find a way to become, like, in between. I want to be as relevant as a Breakfast Club and as informed like a Charlemagne, but I still want to connect with the youth like an Adam No Jumper, right? Because Adam, he you know, say what you want, he got that young audience on lock. So I kind of want to find my niche somewhere in between both of those crowds. And I think 2019 we're gonna do something though. I'll give y'all more updates soon. Anywho, Kodak Black walks out of a Hot 97 interview with Ebro in the Morning. He wasn't feeling it, bruh. He wasn't feeling it at all. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this moment in the comment box below. I'm out. I came from nothing, but I want everything God has for me. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I still represent the culture.
All the kids, they are now tuned in.
Yo, we locked in right now, Mr.
TALIAFERRO.
Mr. TALIAFERRO.
Shout out to Mr. TALIAFERRO.
You're watching Mr. TALIAFERRO TV.
Mr. TALIAFERRO TV. Here with the triple B's, you can't do nothing but win.